Good morning, or actually good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So it's been a very busy and hectic day. I wanted to give you guys an update in regards to what's going on with Beverage, and as the article states, and what we've been kind of covering earlier this afternoon. Some of you reached out to me. There was also several Facebook posts, but Lupe Rose was arrested today. She turned herself in for securities fraud. I know the article says alleged securities fraud, but for those of you who have been investors, this has been going on for the past 6 years. And then I believe it was 2020, 2021. I actually think it was 2020, into 2020, where crap kind of hit the fan. I think that's when ABC came in and shut them down. I'm not going to go into all that. This video is already going to be a little bit long enough. But just to kind of a quick recap, ABC, Alcohol, Beverage, and Tobacco shut down the Beverage's offices in Lancaster because they didn't have a right beverage license. And then sometime after that, the Security Exchange Commission started filing charges and fraud against Lupe Rose, Kat Durden, Sonia Shelby, and some other individuals, as well as Joseph Collins, for alleged fraud. And so they've been accused of stealing over 13 to $15 million or so in regards to all of this. And as of today, the first arrest that we know of was imminent, was Lupe Rose. They had a judgment against them from the SEC, which was in the amount of 13 to 50 million that they have to pay back to all investors. And then Kat Durden, Sonia Shelby was, I'm not sure what the right terminology was. They were convicted or tried, or they have to pay back 300 and something $1,000 each. I got previous videos on all this stuff. And then Lupe Rose got a judgment against her for $600,000 in that. And then, of course, yesterday, she turned herself in and she was arrested for fraud. And we're going to get into this because a lot of people have been going through some other things that I don't know if the FBI or the Security Exchange Commission is aware of. But I can tell you this, that several other people have reached out to me directly. And in addition to this situation that you guys may be familiar with Beverage, but there have been individuals who have been intimidated, threats have been made, as well as coercion. So we're going to kind of cover all that. We're not going to go into too many specific details, but I could also tell you that there was some information sent to us here in regards to some type of witness intimidation. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first article. Let's go ahead and look at what transpired today. CEO of Beverage company marketed for women indicted for alleged securities fraud that took place in more than $13.5 million from investors. And before I go any further, all right, I just wanted to check my sound levels. All right, CEO of Beverage company marketed for women indicted for alleged securities fraud that took in more than $13.5 million from investors. I have a full playlist on everything, so go and check some of my previous videos from investors and things that have been going on with Beverage. Again, this is already going to be long enough, and I've covered one of my previous videos that I did a while back is about 2 hours long. Los Angeles and Antelope Valley woman was arrested today on 39 counts of federal grand jury indictment. Let me go ahead and put this in the chat so you guys could see it for yourself. Lupe Lewis Rose, 54 of Palmdale, surrendered on federal authorities this morning. She is charged with 38 counts of securities fraud and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. Rose pleaded not guilty at her arraignment this afternoon at United States District Court, downtown LA, and a March 19 trial was scheduled. A federal magistrate judge ordered Rose freed on $20,000 bond, which comes out to about $2,000. According to the indictment, returned on January 18th and until today. I'll put that there for those of you who don't have any of this information. A Lancaster-based beverage manufacturer, Rose was the company's president, CEO, and chairman of its board of directors. Rose was promoted She Beverage as a woman-owned beverage manufacturer that marketed primarily to female consumers and sold beer, wine, bottled water, and other products purported designed specifically to cater to women's needs. From 2017 to December 2020, Rose raised investments in She Beverage amounting to more than $13.5 million for more than 1,000 investors. I think the number is actually closer to about 2,000. I'm not exactly sure, but we know it's over 1,000. Specifically, she calls the company to offer and sell its shares through an offering memorandum offering shares in the company of $2.50 per share. Rose also hosted in-person meetings for current and prospective investors, some of which were live streamed to out-of-town investors. Even though Rose marketed She Beverage as a successful company, in fact, she allegedly used the vast majority of the $13 million she raised from investors personally to enrich herself and family and friends. She also used victim investor money to purchase shell companies to give the false appearance that She Beverage was expanding, according to the indictment. Now, some of those companies, I went over them. She had like 80 freaking trademarks. That's extreme. Most companies don't even have 80 trademarks. And if you guys are familiar, she also opened up that women's football league with Ja Rule. He was also an investor. She also had some movie stars and some other celebs. I'm surprised his name hasn't come up yet. I'm sure it will eventually. And there are a lot of women who are upset in the women's football league that that I've spoken to. They've left comments here on the video that have been really following this. So this is not just a She Beverage situation with the beverage. This is also the women's football league and that whole scam that fell into place because She Beverage owned the women's football league. And also too, I know a lot of you investors have been really frustrated and irritated, but all of you investors who put in money, your name, she didn't own any of this stuff by herself. You are all investors in the women's football league, the She Beverage thing. But when they filed all their information, Kat Durden and Sonia Shelby, I think that other guy named Brandon Shelby too, they listed themselves as owners. That's not true. You guys are the owners, the investors. Yes, you would have owned a women's football league and anything else that you would have filed a trademark for because you invested in it, which would have also made you part owners as well. And none of the investors are listed on any of the documents because the federal authorities don't even know who everybody is. So your name should have been on it. This was not a situation where you're giving money to an organization to do something. You are the owners just as much as she is. She could have been 50% and everybody else could have been 5, 10, 15, 2%, whatever the case might be. You guys know how they do it in NBA and also the NFL, how everybody has some type of stake. So that's pretty much what's happened there. Contrary to Rose's written promises to spend 30% of money raised from investors on inventory, she allegedly spent only 2.5% of investors' money on inventory from 2015 to 2021. From 2016 to 2021, Rose called $6 million of victim investor funds raised in the company offerings to be used to the benefit of herself and friends. Now, none of this money that I'm aware of, and I'm a little speculating here, none of this money is directly related to the Women's Football League. I'm sure that's going to come into play, but this is all money directly related to She Beverage. There are people who invested money in the Women's Football League. I have no idea how much money. I don't know who any of those people are, but there were people giving money or investing money directly with the Women's Football League, which was a subsidiary of She Beverage. Rose allegedly lied to investors by stating in 2018 that her company had generated approximately $4 to $5 million in revenue, when in fact that year she had sold less than $263 in merchandise. And don't forget the PPP loan during COVID. She took that out too. She allegedly also made false statements to investors that She Beverage sold United States Food and Drug Administration approved bottled water with a proprietary formula that cured cancer. That's illegal. Rose made other alleged false claims that her prior business experience, including that she had developed a McDonald's bagel sandwich and the creation of Versace's tribute clothing line. Yeah. Other false statements included that were nine-figure offers from other companies to purchase She Beverage, and about Rose's educational background, including she received professional certificates in the field of medicine and journalism. And you guys should see some of her journalism videos out there. It looks like they were shot in the closet. Education and company branding. According to the indictment, Rose allegedly made false statements to the investors. I'm not going to go through all this. An indictment is merely an allegation. All defendants are presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in a court of law. If convicted of all charges, Rose would face a statutory maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison for each securities fraud count and up to 5 years in federal prison for the false statements count. In September 2021, the SEC sued Rose for allegedly fraudulently raising millions of dollars from She Beverage investors throughout the United States. Now, I don't know him personally, but I know of people who lived in Palmdale, Lancaster, who invested anywhere between $25,000 to $300,000, and that's just in the Antelope Valley. 1 second, I'm going to pull up something. Give me 1 second, really quick. All right, so She Beverage investors throughout the United States. January 16th, United States District Judge Christina Snyder imposed a judgment finding Rose, She Beverage, and two others jointly, severally liable for disgorgement. Okay, this is what I was mentioning earlier, of $12 million representing net profits from the fraud, as well as $738 in prejudgment interest. The FBI and IRS criminal investigation are investigating this matter. So I know a lot of this will say allegations or whatnot, but for those of you who are in the community, friends and family members, you know what the deal is. You know that you've been lied to, and you know what's coming down upon them. Now, there have been several other things that have transpired lately. I'm trying to keep all of this organized to some extent. And so that's pretty much what's going on here with She Beverage. Now, the other ladies, none of these people, if you guys are investors, you know, LUPE Rose sent an email and text message out to most of the investors a few weeks ago stating that there was going to be another board meeting. She couldn't do that. I was wondering why was she sending out emails, considering that they can't be a representative of any company at all, period, going forward anywhere. That's LUPE Rose, Sonia Shelby, and Kat Durden. They can't represent any company or take a board position anywhere. So that was quite strange for her to send out an email saying that she was going to do a board meeting and then that they were taking up legal obligations against Joseph Collins, who she claimed that they sold the company to. Now, what you guys heard earlier during a countdown was evidence of representatives from Joseph Collins's URBT, also known as Punch TV, making statements. Now, as you guys know, LUPE Rose and everybody said that they sold She Beverage. The SEC federal government has no record of them selling anything. It's just a claim. And they claimed from text messages and emails last year that they sold everything to Joseph Collins at the end of December, January of last year, or end of December of 2022, in the beginning of January 2023, that they sold their assets to She Beverage. Federal government has no documentation of any of that. That's just a claim. And so what happened was Joseph Collins and LUPE Rose was encouraging people to transfer their shares to She Beverage, or that they were transferred over. But at the same time, they were telling people that they really weren't transferring shares over. They were buying new shares with Punch TV. So some of you who bought shares with She Beverage, you were led to believe that your shares were being transferred over, which there weren't any. They never left She Beverage. And this guy, Joseph Collins, was basically taking your money, making you think that you were transferring your funds when really all you were doing was investing in his company because there were no assets. And I have all of that documented. That's all public. That's documented. And then I found out that's when they were selling social security numbers and everybody's information. And I'll get to that a little bit later, because how does a person reconcile or say, well, let me check this list and can you verify your information if they don't have it? So you how do you do that? Well, why does a stranger or a company representative have your social, your address, your phone number? And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about all the investors to even have that list. It means that something must have been sold or given away for them to have that information. But upon that, by Lupe Rose and them doing that, they made investors believe that they sold, that their assets were transferred over. They never left She Beverage. I want to make sure I say that specifically clear. That information, there was no assets ever purchased from She Beverage to Joseph Collins URBT. It never left She Beverage. So you guys were then scammed again to give up additional money that never left She Beverage. So all your money is still with She Beverage. I know it gets confusing, but that's pretty much the name of the game, and that's what's going on. So a lot of that's not listed here. You can see that in some of my videos. In fact, let me pull up this other website for it really quickly. I want to pull up some other, let's see here. I don't want to pull that up just yet. Let's see here. I got some emails I want to go through. You guys are going to see it all. Where is, all right, so this is what I saw earlier today. All right, so this is what I saw earlier today. Palmdale woman arrested for alleged securities fraud. Some of you messaged me this. Kind of goes over the same thing, but there's not a lot of investigation done, or as far as information, just kind of says some of the same thing. That she was freed on a $20,000 bond. Court papers show from, okay, it pretty much kind of goes over the same thing. I'm not going to rehash any of this. Yeah, she's been lying. And it's not just Rose that was lying, it was also Sonia Shelby and Kat Durden. And it's also been brought to my attention, which we're going to cover, that there have been people who have been threatened, intimidated in regards to this. And a lot of people in the community regarding this probably won't come forward or say much because they're close personal friends with some of these people, but they lost money too. So I get it. And, that was one of the reasons why, I was like, well, do I make a video? Do I not? But somebody needed to kind of curtail or put a lot of the information that was out there and kind of look at it from a different scope. I don't know any of these people personally, but somebody needed to say something. And there's plenty of you out there who have been lied to, defrauded against, that, you're close to people, maybe you work with them and you don't want to say anything, or maybe it puts you in a very precarious situation. And I totally get it. So, best thing you can do is just kind of share this information, pass it along, because for these people to either be friends, family members, whatever the case might be in your life, they ripped you off of a lot of money. And this was not a bad investment. This was not what you say a bad deal. This is just fraud. So, but let me show you guys this really quick. I'm going to share you something that was given to me. Let me see here. I want to show you guys an email or something that was sent to me several months ago. There was a video that I posted, and YouTube sent me here we go. This is it. All right, so I got an email several months ago. It says, please note that this was from YouTube. It says the information reported is violating privacy somewhere in the video. In fact, I can't remember. I think it was the video I was playing earlier. It says, please note that the violation may also occur in the title, video description, channel, or image for privacy concern. However, it would not automatically result in your video being removed. We will review the complaint for potential violations, etc., etc. Please note that you may not need to remove the content entirely. I had Sonia Shelby, Lupe Rose, Kat Durden, and I can't remember what other pictures I had up on there in my thumbnail. All of it's fair use, and I'm not the kind of individual that uses fair use very lightly. I am familiar with all the legal laws and whatnot, but it was stuff that you could have just simply Googled that was used for promotional material for She Beverage, right? And so I got this privacy complaint asking me to take my video down and change my thumbnail. I replied and I copied law enforcement on it as well, stating that this was fair use and this is an example of some of the evidence. And a few hours later, YouTube responded with nothing else to say because they don't want to get involved in any of that. So somebody sent YouTube a notice stating that they had a privacy issue with one of my videos and my thumbnails. And I'm very familiar with the legal laws with copyrights, trademarks, privacy laws. This was not personal photos. It was just basic thumbnail. Like how I have Lupe Rose's photo up here, just like the AV Press does, is the same thing that was pretty much used on my thumbnails. But at any rate, somebody reported it. Obviously, my video was not taken down. I sent all the documentation over and as well as everything else that I needed to, and they backed off and I haven't heard anything. But let's follow up to just a few weeks ago. I received a cease and desist letter from a Marsha Smith. And so this came about 2 weeks ago. I'm going to read all of this because based upon some of the conversations that I've had with some of you earlier this morning, I'm not the only one that this has happened to. Apparently, there have been other individuals who have been tied with She Beverage representatives that have been going around intimidating people, witnesses, and investors, trying to intimidate them to prevent them from speaking out or divulging information that could incriminate them. I am not joking about any of this. So I got this email at about 2 weeks ago on a Thursday at about 4 p.m. And this came from a Marsha Smith. You can look up the address here. It says Marsha Smith, 5155 Blue Diamond Road, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89139. And this was sent to our email address. It says subject cease and desist defamation. Dear persons or the owners of Angelica and TJ Adventures, I am writing to you on behalf of my client, Miss Lupe Rose, regarding defamatory content that has been published and broadcasted on your YouTube channel, Angelica and TJ Adventures. Everything that I've ever said on this channel can be researched or looked up legally. This is not an opinionated channel. This is facts. I'm not Tasha K. I'm familiar with the laws of how journalism and news information is disseminated, but we'll get into that. And by the way, when they went to the SEC or when they were in federal court, they had legal representatives. This person, Marsha Smith, doesn't come up. So it has come to our attention that your channel has been involved in disseminating false, misleading, and harmful information regarding Ms. Lupe Rose, her associate Sonia Shelby, Ms. Catherine Durden, and her company, She Beverage Company. Now, mind you, before I get into this email, they're representing themselves or saying that they are their company, She Beverage. She Beverage is disseminated, and they're no longer legal representatives or CEOs of that company. So just to mind you, that line right there is just completely false. The allegations that Ms. Rose and her associates have been involved in are allegations that are in the process of appeal. Your further defamation and false statements that indicate the sale of Social Security numbers, which is true, among other defamatory subjects, are unfounded and constitute a serious breach of their personal and professional reputation. See California, they copied and paste all this stuff. They sent over this Gestapo stuff. Doesn't move me one bit. See California Civil Code, blah, blah, blah. It is a false statement of fact that is harmful to a person's reputation, is published and is read or heard by someone other than the person being talked about. Additionally, it has been observed that unauthorized photographs of Ms. Rose and her associates have been utilized without consent. Please be advised that this action violates their right to privacy and can lead to further legal implications. Now, the photos, again, have all been... Heck, let's just pull one up and I'll show you. The photos that I've been posting have all been crap that you can easily find on Google or on their YouTube affiliation. Or not YouTube, I'm sorry, but Instagram. They're not some personal photos of them hanging out at a picnic or doing, just whatever. They've all been in advertisements. I don't have any in front of me right now. Oh, yeah. So, for example, like something like this, which has been used in a YouTube thumbnail, just like a little information like this. But there are some other photos. I can't pull them up right now that you could just easily find and see them on Google or YouTube, or it's all been used in all of their promotional materials through other various websites. So that's where I pretty much get all my stuff. Under California law, defamation, including the libel slander, is a tort and can give rise to a civil liability, where we hereby demand that you immediately cease and desist from making or publishing any further defamatory statements about Ms. Rose, Ms. Shelby, Ms. Dirting, and She Beverage Company. Furthermore, we insist on the removal of all videos and content pertaining to the aforementioned parties from their YouTube channel or any other platform where the content has been shared. Failure to comply with this demand will leave Ms. Rose with no option but to seek legal recourse. She is fully prepared to file a lawsuit against you and seek punitive damages in the amount of $161 million, to equivalent to $1,000 for every subscriber on your YouTube channel or other social media platform for the harm that has been caused to her reputation and business interests. Please understand that YouTube is not exempt from laws governing defamation, and the spread of false information via media platform can result in severe legal consequences. We trust that you will take this letter seriously and act accordingly to rectify the situation without delay. We expect a written response from you acknowledging the receipt of this letter and outlining the actions that you will take to comply with these demands by 10 days, which has been more than 10 days now. I think it's been close to 14. By 10 days of the date of this letter, we hope that you resolve this matter amicably without the need for litigation. However, should you fail to comply with the terms in this letter, we will take immediate legal action to protect Ms. Rose's rights and interests. Should you be represented by counsel, please advance all attorney information to M. Smith at herfightforjustice.com. All right, good. So I have a specific reason why I'm sharing this. So, well, you guys don't need to know what I do, but I'm probably one of the worst people to send stuff like this to. Number one, I looked up Marcia Smith. Marcia Smith does not exist. This address, 5155 Blue Diamond Road in Las Vegas, this is a storage facility. This address does not represent any form of a legal office. Now, this person is not claiming to be an attorney, but they're claiming to be a legal representative. We'll get to that. I looked it up. This actually goes to like one of those little mail and more places, like one of those little postal facilities. And I called the owner. I got the phone number of that one of the businesses in that area. And she's been threatened, or somebody's been pretending to be the FBI contacting her. So this place of address, this is not even a specific, it's like a strip mall. It has a storage facility, mail facilities, and a bunch of other places with an actual suite number. So this is not even a specific address. I went to the Cal Bar Association and also the Nevada Bar Association. There's no Marcia Smith. Let's scroll down here. So the other thing is this phone number here, 661-571-3017. This is some digitized phone number. It doesn't go to an office. There's no legal letterhead stating that they're attorney at L or some type of legal representative. And the thing that gets the case here, let's pull this up. I want to pull this up so you guys could see it for yourself. So the domain there, it says msmith@herfightforjustice.com. Let's pull that up. It's an unregistered domain. Whoever sent this email spoofed, faked, manipulated the domain to send me an email. This person doesn't exist. This domain doesn't exist. If any one of you wanted to buy this domain right now, you could. This is a spoofed email. Fake. I traced the IP address. Obviously, they were using a VPN. The email came from someplace in Ireland. So somebody, we don't know who they are, is making you believe or trying to make me believe that they are a legal representative for Miss Rose. Screw that. For Kat Durden, Lupe Rose, and Sonia Shelby, using bona fide, fraudulent emails. This in itself is illegal. This in itself is a crime. To spoof a domain that they don't own, that's not registered to them, use somebody else's address and use somebody else's phone number in order to intimidate me and possibly other witnesses to remove information that is incriminating to Lupe Rose. I honestly think that she did it. And I'm going to tell you why, because if you notice and look at all of her trademarks, everything says she Beverage, she bank, she airlines, uses some type of feminine pronoun. And down here it says her fight for justice, which is another feminine pronoun. I believe it was her. Personally, I do believe it's her. I can't prove that, but I believe it was her. Secondly, there's another word for this. Now, even if you don't believe anything that I had to say regarding any of my videos, there's something else at play here. All the information and all the videos that I've shared have been public information put out that you guys could go research and look for yourself, is a culmination of evidence. I think whoever this individual doesn't realize this is witness tampering, witness manipulation. Because when you send information out to somebody asking them to remove physical evidence about their person or whoever that, against Lupe Rose, you're asking me to conceal evidence. This is witness manipulation. Asking me to remove information that, the federal authorities or anybody else or any other victims can reconcile. This is not just a claim of defamation. This is somebody sending me an email with witness tampering. And I forgot what it's called. What is it? Trying to strong arm a witness, if that's the legal definition. I've seen that actually happen before. Used to work with people. I know somebody who got arrested for doing something like that, where they were trying to coerce a witness. But asking me to remove my videos because they shed light on information because you think they're not defamatory. If I was making up some stuff, then yeah, that would be defamatory. But this is evidence. This is information. And based upon other information that I received today, this falls well within line of some of the tactics that some of you have been running into. Being asked not to say some things or else something's going to happen to you for speaking out. So it doesn't come as a shock to me. Not at all. All right, let's move on. Give me a second here. I'm going to pull up the next thing. I don't think these people have been too bright from the start. But the FBI can actually trace that email. And I did send them a copy of it. So the IP address, I found out on my own that it did originate from Ireland. There's false pretenses involved in that email. spoofing a domain, fake email addresses, fake names. They definitely would have been hit with something if they said that they were an attorney, because there's only one Marsha Smith that's attorney in the state of California, and they are based in Riverside, and it's not her. And her fight for justice is a domain that just doesn't even exist. So that's how we know this is a bunch of crap. And that's just nothing but evidence tampering and witness manipulation, just at its best. But, in regards to this whole She Beverage thing, the one thing that I still think that needs to be looked into is, how did they open up an office in Lancaster for the sole purpose of manufacturing alcohol? And that area, that Lancaster place that's off of Lancaster Boulevard, what's the name of that? That Lancaster Marketplace is not zoned for the manufacturing of alcohol. So I wonder if not the tenants, but the landlord has been questioned about any of that. But from my understanding, a lot of people in Lancaster and the Antelope Valley have been keeping quiet because they're connected to people and they don't want their names involved. I'm a little speculating there, but that's what I've heard. That's what I've been told. Because how does a business open up a manufacturing brewery for alcohol and somebody doesn't check all the right paperwork? I just don't see how that even got too far. And if that something like that was even looked into, then maybe they wouldn't have even gotten as far. But even based upon those numbers, the type of barrels that they were using could only produce so much alcohol. So even in that limited quantity, they wouldn't have been able to produce the amount of alcohol to return give you a substantial return on your investment based upon the limited quantity that they were able to maybe produce at that facility. So a lot of this stuff isn't adding up, never adding up. And that's the one question that's really eluded me, is why didn't the city of Lancaster, outside of the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, the ATF, send them a cease and desist letter or shut them down? Because all of you ladies and people who were defrauded, you never should have even been in that facility to begin with, because it's not zoned for the distribution and manufacturing of alcohol. So I don't know how that even went that far, because a lot of this stuff could have just been cut down to begin with. But, again, this is a fake domain. Doesn't exist. Her fight for justice. I mean, people must honestly think all of us are stupid to send something like this for a registered domain. Her fight for justice. I mean, this is, again, all of her pronouns and everything that's been used with Lupe Rose or whoever has all been her or she or some type of feminine pronoun. So this was just dumb. Yeah. The things that or lengths that people will go through to put their name out there. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one I have here for you is, let's see, that's the email. Let's see, that's the email with the fake cease and desist. And cease and desist letters aren't even legal. There's just more or less like an intimidation tactic, but you definitely don't send something out with a fake domain, fake number, and a fake address using somebody else's business address, especially in a industrial facility. Let's see. I had some other information here I wanted to share you guys. So let me pull up. Let's see, photos. But there have been a number of you who have reached out and said that you've kind of gotten the same kind of thing, some form of intimidation or threats against you for speaking out and telling the truth. That ain't good, because the information that I just showed you, that would tack on years to their sentence. If they find out who that person is, and I'm sure the FBI can find out who that came from, because even if you're using a VPN, when you break laws like what they just did, witness tampering, intimidation, evidence tampering, they'll look it up and they can tack on years just for that. And all these emails that they've been sending, that's also an additional cybercrime. Now we don't know too much about. Now I think the last message that I did see that their arrests were imminent, which is plural. So there are other people that are being looked into that will possibly get arrested. I think I kind of mentioned this sometime last year that they were investigating. It looks like they did turn up some information. The FBI is looking for more witnesses. You guys could go to the FBI website and let me go ahead and pull that up here. Let's see, FBI, Beverage. There is a witness form that you could fill out. This was updated some time ago. Seeking victim information in Beverage investment fraud investigation. You guys just have to go here, fill out your information in regards to Beverage. Hopefully they can get you your money back. This is the FBI, forms.fbi.gov. Just Google Beverage FBI. They are looking up information. Between 2017 2019, Beverage Company allegedly raised over $15 million from unregistered stock sales to more than 2,000 investors. See, I knew that information was higher, or the number. The FBI is investigating Beverage and its principals, Lupe Rose, Sonia Shelby, and Catherine Durden, for falsely representing to investors how investor funds would be utilized while millions of dollars were potentially misappropriated. Now, what makes the situation even worse is Cat Durden has been going around touting herself as being innocent, as well as several other people been going around. And, you know, I believe in innocence and all that other stuff, but investors didn't find out about Beverage being shut down or the whole ABC issue until months later, until when the SEC issued a lawsuit. Close family members and friends didn't know what was going on. If you were completely innocent, wouldn't you have just said, hey, by the way, in January, let's see, that was January of 2021, I think. Why didn't they call anybody or send an email saying, hey, guys, the ABC just shut us down. We won't be in business for a while. We'll keep you posted. You know, if you're just innocent, like even the close friends and family members of these women who invested money, why didn't they call them up and say, hey, we just got shut down? No, they waited until everything hit the press and that there was a demand that they were being sued by the federal government until September of that year. Somebody's commenting, why haven't the other two been arrested? Well, it's not just the other two. There's more than other two people. There's some other people, but the wheels of justice turn very slowly. Like, why weren't they arrested 2 or 3 years ago? Good question. So they take their time. I can't speculate. I mean, I'm not the law, but you'll find out why. Remember the same thoughts. Like, why weren't they arrested years ago? They're dotting their I's, they cross their T's, and they take their time. That's what the Justice Department does. They make sure they have all their facts straight. They make sure they have their information, and they move very slowly. Remember, this is they were investigated 2 or 3 years ago, and a lot of this stuff is just blatant. I mean, we know they're guilty. You guys do too. But what makes matters worse is now every time they send out an email or some type of text message, that's a cybercrime. All those emails that she sent in regards to Joseph Collins saying that they sold the company, misleading investors, people double dipping or double investing now thinking their funds were transferred over. And you just heard the voice recordings and whatnot messages earlier. Nothing was ever bought. And when I spoke to them, they said, yeah, well, we really never bought the assets from Beverage. You're really investing in our company in hopes that you get your money back. But we never bought any assets from Beverage. Nothing was ever transferred over. They told that to me. And somebody sends me a cease and desist letter saying that information is fraudulent. And then when you're talking to these individuals, if somebody has a list asking you to verify your name, phone number, social security number, what the hell does that mean? That means that you sold phone numbers, addresses, and social security numbers, because why would I be calling any business or any entity having to verify my name so you can reconcile it with your personal list, wherever you got it from, to see if I'm on the list? So CCTJ 430, imagine if you called up and they say, well, what's your name and phone number and social security number? Well, why do they have it to begin with? And how did they get it? What does that mean? When they already sent out emails saying, well, we sold your information or we sold the company and its assets. Well, if you claim you sold it, you told everybody, you gave everybody's information away. And if the federal government has no record of it, it was never legal. There was never a legal transfer. Government has no clue. Just and if there were, Beverage was sold to Joseph Collins for $54 million, then why wasn't everybody cashed out? You would have been cashed out. If the company was valued at $54 million and there was a legal transfer, you would have been cashed out. You would have made some money. But, that's what they want you to think. They think we're stupid. They must think everybody's an idiot. So that's what's going on. That's probably why they haven't been arrested. They're looking into, I'm sure they're looking into other financial details. I don't know. They probably won't disclose any of that, but they're probably checking everybody's bank records and seeing where all this money is going or what happened to all the finances. Even while these individuals are still out claiming that they're innocent or that they had nothing to do with it, while some of us still get fraudulent cease and desist letters and with spoof emails and fake phone numbers from supposed legal interest. And also too, let's say even if that was a legal an attorney, they would have to be really stupid to send an email like that, not realizing that they're asking somebody to squelch evidence, because that would come back to bite them in the butt, and then their legal license or they could be disbarred for something like that, for witness intimidation. You just don't send out a cease and desist letter, especially when there's some legal things going on. And the information that was being shared was all evidence. So I think that probably about wraps it up. I don't know if there's any other information that I needed to share with you guys. Let's see. We touched bases on the FBI. Lupe Rose has been arrested. The other people, and it's not just Lupe Rose and Kat Durden. I do believe that they'll be arrested too. That's my personal belief. I believe there's some other individuals, probably Joseph Collins. Out of all of those, Joseph Collins seems to be the smartest one so far, because he hasn't came back and said anything stupid. I'm talking about publicly, because a lot of the stuff that Lupe Rose has sent, in fact, there was I don't think I have a copy of it, but there was supposed to be an investor meeting a few weeks ago on January 27th. She can't be a CEO or a representative. So even that email themselves is violating. I'm not sure if it's in place, but would essentially be violating what she's not supposed to be doing. And she puts that in an email. Like, hey, I'm going to do a meeting for Beverage. You can't. Neither one of these ladies, Sonia Shelby or Kat Durden, can be a legal representative of any company. So even that email itself is more evidence of them doing crap they're not supposed to do. I want to see if I could find. All right, so here's another photo here of, this is typically what comes up. Yeah, this ain't private information. This is just a basic Google search with images that will typically pop up. I think that's pulled down from, this is the Guam Daily Post. Again, this is for the Women's Football League. I really wonder if Ja Rule is going to get pulled into any of this. I really wonder. So these were some of the barrels that they used for Beverage. Let me see if there's a photo down here. I thought I saw a photo. All right, I thought I saw a photo of those canisters. Anyway, I hate it when Google does that. But these are some of the canisters, or not canisters, but the stuff that they had. Didn't manufacture anything. In fact, the limited number of quantities of stuff that they did have wasn't enough to return an investment. I can't believe people didn't piece any of this stuff together, because if if people invested $50 million or you invest $30,000 or whatever, and the type of license that they applied for the alcohol, tobacco, or for their ABC license, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I believe I posted these numbers in a previous video. You would have to produce, like, let's say, 1,000 barrels a week or 1,000 barrels a day in order to retrieve a return. And based upon their license, they were only able to produce like maybe 70 barrels a day or 70 barrels a week. So even that just by itself, that should have rose a red flag to other investors and other people and say, well, we're not going to reap a return or our investment because their license limits them to how much alcohol they can produce. And again, Lancaster Marketplace, you're not even supposed to have a license in that facility to manufacture alcohol. And to my knowledge, because I call city council, city of Lancaster, after ABC shut them down, I asked them, I said, well, how come you guys haven't filed a citation? And they had no answer. So something's up. I don't know what's going on in the city of Lancaster. I don't know if somebody's trying to cover up something, but none of this was covered. There's too many I's and too many T's that weren't dotted in order for it to even have gotten this far. And I do believe that if city council or whoever's over the city ordinance, they should have filed a citation against them and prevented them from even having a business there way before ABC even came in. And they said that they should have cited them. When I talked to a representative, I asked them, I said, well, if they had that notice up, I said, would you cite them even after ABC? They said, yeah, they would. But to my best knowledge, they never did. So I don't know. You guys tell me. There's a lot of stuff that's just either not being said, but I believe a lot of people are pretty much are keeping quiet because, they have close family ties. I know it's a small community. People don't want to say anything, but you would have thought that maybe something like this would have been more or less prevalent in the news. But however, it isn't. But the Women's Football League, there are a lot of people who, women football players that have been, I wouldn't say, well, I don't know what their stipulation is. Let me see. Women's, give me a second here. I'm going to pull it up. Yeah, because that Women's Football League is another entity to itself. Let me see. WFLBA, Women's Football League. I'm going to pull this up here so you guys can see it. Because I know that there were other investors in that She Beverage thing with, not She Beverage thing, but there were other people who bought teams, the expansion teams for the Women's Football League. Let's see if I can pull this up. Give me a second. So I'm not sure if they would be implicated or if they would have lost money too. But we know that, let me see if I can pull it up. But yeah, there were other women and other people who invested money and bought teams for the Women's Football League, and they would have lost money or gotten involved in this some kind of way too. So kicking off the Women's Football League Association, LUPE Rose. And then apparently, I think in 2020, 2021, they said they were starting it up again. And I think it was handed over to Brandon Shelby, who's the son of Sonia Shelby. He was supposed to be the president or CEO or something. And then, of course, nothing ever transpired on that. But again, I got videos on that, a little bit be more detailed. But the good news is she was finally arrested, charged with something. Obviously, it's going to go through court. She's out on $20,000 bail, which is about $2,000, which is really not, much of anything. So, again, this is just, I typically don't make content on this kind of stuff, but we were covering it for quite some time. And so there looks like there is going to be some light at the end of the tunnel. And then this, of course, was this is it here. So this is the kind of stuff that I post that they say this is a violation of privacy. Sports and FBI goes after football's LUPE roles as alleged scam unravels. So this was September 21st. I covered a little bit of this. So there's Ja Rule. These are some of the women in Guam from the Women's Football League. They're all pissed off, as well as a lot of the other ladies who have commented on some of my other videos. So what they do is they partner up with celebrities, and this is why the FTC is cracking down on a lot of social media and celebrity content makers. If you guys are familiar with Fire Festival, I think Ja Rule was involved in that. You can watch the Fire Festival breakdown on YouTube. Is it Kylie Jenner or Kendall? I think Kendall Jenner got caught up in something like that. But that's why the FTC and government organizations are cracking down on celebrities and them making promises, is because these organizations like Beverage will reach out to a celebrity, use their mass market appeal, use their face, their likeness, and then jackasses like Ja Rule will get involved in stuff like this and help mislead people. And you invest your money thinking like, oh, this is going to be a substantial business or a substantial investment. So you can see he's partnered up here with all of these ladies, and it didn't go anywhere. In fact, he was also on a talk show talking about he bought a women's football team. He probably cashed out, got some money. I don't know all the details, but they partner up with celebrities, take pictures with them and stuff, and lead you to believe they're on the up and up when everything is just a scam. And so that's pretty much what a lot of these people do. They'll take pictures with celebrities, social media influencers, and use them to push their agenda. So I really want to see him get wrapped up into this and see exactly what happens with Ja Rule. I really want to, because there's no way he's not innocent in any of this. By any long shot, he's not innocent in any of this because he helped promote this kind of stuff. But at any rate, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I know we kind of gone into an hour. Try not to rehash a lot of the stuff, but there is a criminal investigation from the second Beverage. Obviously, we know she was arrested today, but there's going to be more arrest imminent, I'm sure. Then it says a WFLA Instagram post from April 2002 stated Collins. Well, that's kind of weird. April 2022 stated Collins' purchase of Beverage assets included ownership of the WFLA. That post also stated that he replaced LaRose as the WFLA CEO. So Beverage and Joseph Collins is claiming ownership of the women's football. He should have left that alone, because at least we would have thought that would have been a separate entity. No, it's the same entity. So I don't know. This is a mess, but this is weird too, because the sale of this, hopefully this is a typo, because the sale of Beverage supposedly and the transfer didn't happen until the end of 2022. So December 2022, January of 2023, which was just last year. However, this website is claiming that there was an Instagram post from April 2022, which would fall 8 months or so before that acquisition. Maybe this is a typo. I'm hoping it is. The post also stated that he replaced Rose as a WFLA CEO, which would mean he's taking on some type of responsibility legally for the Women's Football League. So that's not good for him. But anyway, that's pretty much all the information that we have now. Again, I definitely want to stress that if you are a victim or a witness, don't let anybody intimidate you. There's been plenty of it going around. I'm aware of it. You know, you got friends, family members, co-workers, whatever the case might be. That's who they use to invest in Beverage. And now, because the crap has hit the fan and people don't want to lose their personal reputations, they're now intimidating people from speaking out. So that's what's going on right now with Beverage. So we're glad that she got arrested. We know that she's out on bail right now, but yeah, you know, at least, you know, God answers prayers, and at least some of these answers are fully coming out. And so I hope you guys like this video. Please like it, share it, consider subscribing. We post fun stuff over here, but we had to do the right thing. You know, I was really on odds and ends of wondering if I should make some videos and stuff. But I was like, you know what, screw it. It's not right to have elderly people stolen from and ripped off. And I could tell there was just no honesty in any of this situation, because they could have spoken out and said, "Hey, well, we're sorry. Let people know what was going on beforehand." But again, this was not a bad business deal. This was a scam from the start, because there's just way too many things, way too many I's that weren't dotted and T's weren't crossed before it even got to this point. And I wasn't even aware of any of this, really. Like I said, when I saw the Lancaster marketplace, I was like, you can't open up a brewery over here. It got to be zoned. It has to be in an industrial district. And so, yeah. But, I think they took advantage of everybody's ignorance. They played on that. They hooked up with celebrities and made you guys all, look at all these ladies here anxious to play some football. And they never got the light of day because they were constantly lied to. And Ja Rule was aware of it. He hasn't gone out to his social media and said, I'm disassociating myself with She Beverage. He's been really, really quiet. But hopefully his name starts popping up, because he's been attached to too many scams, just like that whole fire situation. But again, guys, like and subscribe. I'll keep you updated if there's anything else. But there's a lot of witness intimidation and supposedly tampering going around, and people falsely representing themselves and sending out spoof emails thinking we're stupid, or thinking that somehow bothers us. So at any rate, you guys all have a great day. I will catch you later.